What's going on, you guys? So, check it right. A-Reece just dropped his long-awaited and highly anticipated third studio album, Paradise 2. And man, where do we even begin? I think a good starting point would be to talk about the theme around the album and what it represents. Now, during his YFM interview, Reece mentioned that the two central themes for the album are betrayal and revenge. And I mean, considering that the album is titled P2, the big-hearted bad guy, it kind of makes sense. And I say this because Reece views himself as an individual who has a big heart, considering that he has committed quite a few selfless acts, with the main one being him shining a light on his former crew members and his friends from the past so that they could establish their own careers within the game. I mean, without Reece, we wouldn't really know some of the guys from TWC and Rapper Band Gang. So him doing so kind of shows how selfless he is and that he truly does have a big heart. Now, because he's experienced so many fallouts with his former crew members, it stands to reason that he would be the root of all these disputes. And we've seen some of his former crew members come out in interviews and pretty much paint a picture of him being the bad guy in all these situations. And the thing about Reece is that he never comes out in public to address these allegations or dispute what people have said about him, which gives further reason to believe that he is the bad guy. So with that said, the album deals with those topics somewhat, and in terms of him getting his revenge, it's not necessarily revenge in the traditional sense, but rather that the revenge is the re-up, with him bettering himself and working on his flaws to prove to everyone else what he's been knowing, which is him being the best rapper that the country and continent has ever seen. Now, going through the album, it's sort of like a journey that Reece takes us through, where on the run, Reece pretty much gives a summary of his career with lines like, "Stuck to the plan and I kept this shit in motion. Self-preservation over self-promotion. Ultra focus, still in my element, the boy is golden. Took long enough for some of y'all to notice. Took advantage of the important moments just to prove that I'm more than a famous poet. Now they call me chief executive owner, wasn't overnight. I had to stay devoted. Been had this vision already on the agenda. Way before I met niggas that would mix the soda. Back when I had to go to city spot to pick my clothes up. Before Christ and I would share a sofa. Working on music, creating album folders. I just knew that it was far from over. And I'm only getting closer. Even if I could, I wouldn't do it over. Now I got the crown on my head and the city on my shoulders. Heavy duty." Now, Reece also makes mention of his career being celebrated because he's been through so many trials and tribulations, and now because he's finally on top, people don't want to see him in that spot. He also makes mention of how people were sleeping on him, but they finally awake, and how people who want to see him gone have their days numbers as he's running the game. And he makes mention of this by saying, "Although I hate to sound cliche, I live the kind of life they gotta write about and make a movie, build a statue, make a hologram. Even curriculums in school would have to include me. And I'm looking past my ops, they just an illusion, out here causing confusion. I know the motive is to get between me and the music, before trying to capture the wave that would slumber away. Now that you're finally awake, you should just number your days. This is not a drill or phase, we really running the game." Now, on Rest Time Africa, Reece and Manifest pretty much put on a rap spectacle as they were dropping so many quotables throughout the track. Now, with Reece in his revenge season mode, he was talking his shit on this one, basically detailing how successful he's managed to become, as he went on to say, "Woke up in the plane, we just landed somewhere above the equator. I'm smoking AAA balling, hitting triple doubles every game, bearing the fruits of my labor. I gotta say, it got me feeling like Carlito, I could spit an apple in your face. Numbers doing far better than they projected. Labels use my work as a point of reference when I drop a record. Keeping up with me just got him looking desperate." Now, with him being so successful at this point in his career, he realizes that the same niggas he inspired are the same ones who are still trying to get at him, as it seems like he has a target on his back. But because he's focusing more on love instead of the hate, none of that phases him, considering that he's been through worse, like trying to revive his career for a second time. And he makes mention of this as he went on to say, "Only nigga realer than me is the one in the mirror. It should be obvious, we're not some beginners. I think it's obvious I'm up against quitters, liars, pretenders. It's getting old, I'm growing tired of you niggas. I bet somebody hired you niggas. Starting to feel like it's a curse that I inspired you niggas. I know this lifestyle inspired your writtens. You ain't a tough guy, retire that image. Really a master at this shit, just admit it. Really a hazard going ape like Gibbons. Really had it, lost it all, then I got it back like I didn't. Focus on the love and abandon the hate." Now with El Dorado, which features Fly Anakin, Reece once again put on another lyrical spectacle, and the thing about him is that his use of words are able to create imagery that only a few rappers can really do. I mean, he makes reference to being on fire during his rookie years, like Allen Iverson back in '96, basically insinuating that his skills and his talents have always been top tier, even during his infant years of his career. I mean, once Allen Iverson joined the NBA during his rookie year, his contribution to the court was undeniable, which led him to winning the NBA Rookie of the Year award in the following year, '97. But still sticking to El Dorado, Reece creates more imagery when he says, "Somebody around me walking with the stick, I call him Master Roshi. He made the pledge he'd rather die before me, play it cool. You know the motto, we ain't promised no tomorrow. Every move come with consequences that follow." So with these lines, it seems like Reece is still in touch with his late father, with him sort of like being like a guardian angel for him. He makes reference to Master Roshi, who is a character from Dragon Ball Z, as well as being a martial artist teacher, mentor, and father figure to characters like Goku, Krillin, and Yamcha. And he taught those characters a lot, just like Reece learned a lot from his dad. Now because Reece lost his dad, he understands that tomorrow isn't promised, and that every move comes with consequences. Now on One Time, which features Blackie, Reece gives appreciation to the guys who are independent in this game, and the guys who never switched on the people they were once close with, which is him basically praising people like him doing this music thing independently, as well as him also taking slight shots at his former crew members as he believes they switched on him. Now in regards to Blackie, I mean, he took shots of his own as he went on to say, "They knows in my business like Phineas, couldn't care less about their opinions. I know they say attack it like Gillian, don't they know I'm a giant, they minions. Whole different feeling when you making millions. I cannot be a real civilian. Too late to go back to the old days. They used to be my dogs, now they all strays." And he continued by saying, "Yes, you had it, but you couldn't sustain. Yes, you had it, but you couldn't maintain. It's no secret I'm focused on one thing. I could switch, but it's not in my DNA." Now what I found telling is that Blackie quoted Reece's lines from Bad Guy when he said, "Too late to go back to the old days. They used to be my dogs, now they're all strays." So it seems like Blackie was channeling what Reece felt with those lines, since he himself isn't cool with certain individuals or an individual he once used to work with. But anyways, moving on to Angels and Demons, I can't lie, this might be my favorite track from the album so far, guys. I mean, Soul Kick killed the production on this one, and not just that, the subject matter that Reece was speaking on was so relatable. So he was speaking on how when he was at his lowest, he was dealing with certain voices in his head, having him make bad choices that he'll still regret till this day, basically having the devil on his shoulder. But through sheer work and perseverance, he managed to get back on his feet. And with White Noise, Reece recruits his older brother Jay Jody to shed light on the political issues that SA has been facing. I mean, the country is plagued by immense corruption that our politicians enjoy because of the greed they have. And Jody highlights this with the crazy verse he dropped, as he goes on to say, "Country flag in flames, blood and broken glass on window pane, politicians flying over rights in their private plane, what a shame, empty promises all in Madiba's name, blur faces, freezing cold cases, y'all don't peep the game, more power failure they say it's like shocking news, villain poses saviors, the hood campaigns are just a ruse, the youth refuses to be so constantly excused for contributions that might be crucial towards real solutions. Fees haven't fallen yet, so that's why I gotta drop these gems. I'm hoping that it makes sense, cause I don't want you defenseless. Say what you mean, fuck senses. What do you mean they let us? We had to fight till breathless. The angel of death has become so relentless." Now with Set in Stone, which features American rapper Joey Fats, both Reece and Joey gave thanks to Allah and celebrated black excellence in their hooks. Now in his verse, Reece gives some recognition to Nas, as well as also highlighting the relationship he's managed to develop with Joey, to the point where Reece refers to him as twin. I mean, he also went on to say, "You know that Baby Boy and Joey's duo are very lethal," kinda comparing their relationship to Mel Gibson and Danny Glover's relationship in Lethal Weapon. Now Set in Stone is the third track with these two together, and they did promise that a joint project would be dropping, so hopefully we get it next year. Now with Ronnie's interlude, on the first line we can hear Reece being grateful that his father was around for him majority of his childhood and even adulthood, but because his father passed away from COVID, Reece is still processing his passing and wishes he was still here. He also makes mention of how the studios where he spends most of his time at, to the point where he ends up sleeping there, all because he's working on perfecting his craft. And he ends up reminiscing about not having much, and how in class he would use his math book for writing down lyrics, and despite being more focused on his craft, he still performed well in class. Now Reece makes it known to us that he chose rap over the streets because the niggas in the hood would commit murders, hijackings, robberies, scams, and sell crack, but he wanted none of that and chose his career in rap. Now with God Laughs, which features Shakana and Java, we can hear Reece say the following: born in a clinic inside a village, a nigga like me has always been humble from the beginning. Portia couldn't call it, but she knew something unique was in him. The look in his eyes was different, not just another statistic. Sure enough, it showed. I mixed the poetry with the rhythm. Had Jody never assisted, the lyrics wouldn't be written. I'm trying to say without him, Reece would have never existed. Wanted to be just like him, whatever he do, I did it. Living vicariously through this nigga, that's how I discovered I'm truly gifted. Now they say that I'm an anomaly in the system. Now my mama said that she proud of me cause y'all listen. Following, cop the tickets. Made it check cause I don't care about destructive criticism. Now Reece spoke on how his mother knew he was a special individual, but couldn't pinpoint what made him special. He also speaks on Jody being the reason for pursuing rap, because he made him discover his talent, and without him there would be no A-Reece. Now because of how big he's become doing this music thing independently, people see him as an outlier, and his mother's finally proud of him. Now in the following lines, he proceeds to talk his shit while still shitting on niggas, as he went on to say, I'm seasoned, you niggas just seasonal with it. I'm global, unreachable, y'all regional with it. Been on for a minute, don't have a reason to quit. When I start writing these bars, nobody getting acquitted. When I spit these type of punches, somebody getting admitted. When you fight your demons like Javante, ain't no need to go the distance. Spark a spliff alone, I'm higher than the Holy Spirit. Man, I swear most of you niggas wouldn't get it. Now I think it's also worth mentioning that Shakana and Java sounded heavenly on this record, and they were beautiful additions to the track. Now on Champion, Reece and Manifest speak on their success and what it means to be a champion, with lines like, you ain't making moves as if you ran into a polar bear, we not the same, do not compare. Motivation for my successes, checking off my checklist. Business class boys, that means champagne for breakfast. The fans are the investors. Revenge club records don't test us like skipping a semester. So fuck a nigga top 5. Been at it more than half a decade and I'm still in my prime, my nigga. My mama calling, remind me to pray. You know the devil right behind you on your way to be great. And I'm still running my race, ain't no hitting the wall. You know the saying in the game, you either rise or you fall. Who thought we'd make it this far? Think we ain't shining, you just left in the dark. So it's clear that Reece understands his position in the game right now, with him not caring about top 5 conversations and instead focusing more on praying, considering that your blessings can be taken away from you at any given moment. Now with Better Now Interlude, Reece emphasizes the importance of family and the future generation, considering that our actions have an impact on their well-being. He also makes mention of losing his friends, and that losing a sum of 100k would be easier to lose, since the losses in friendships weigh heavy on his soul. But he's more focused on moving forward and rising above those setbacks, and him transitioning into Spitori was a nice nostalgic touch. Now he also went on to say, I outgrew some niggas that I grew up with. Wonder if I blew up quick. I just couldn't put up with mistaken assumptions, making adjustments. The frequency interrupted, I couldn't mentally function, turning nothing into assumptions, another conundrum. Couldn't accept the person I'm becoming, became envious because I'm lustrous. I know that no good deed goes unpunished, and with you, I know that no subtweet goes unpublished. I wasn't falling for it, I thought you were far from it. Venting out your issues in public all of a sudden would have said I'm victimizing myself had I done it. The kids now are redundant. Now with these lines, it's clear that Reece was addressing his former crew members, and initially I thought he was talking about words, but by further analyzing the lines, it sounds like he was talking to MashBeatz. And I say this because Reece makes mention of no subtweets going unpublished, and that this individual was venting out the issues out in public, which Mash did when Heaven Can Wait dropped, as well as the confrontation. And to further solidify that he was talking about Mash, when Heaven Can Wait dropped, Mash mentioned that Reece loves playing the victim, and with Reece saying that he would feel victimized if he aired out their issues out in public, he would be feeding into what Mash said, so it kind of lines up. Now still building off of Better Now Interlude, On Better Now, Reece seems like he's come to terms with everything and realizes that the person Mash really is, as he went on to say, "Nah, you don't have to pity me. Everything about you fake, you full of treachery. You used to tell me that my enemy's your enemy, but all that shit was trickery. I'm onto you. Should be ashamed, I used to honor you. I wouldn't call it, I should have known that. You so atrocious, no one controls you. Doing the most, you get on your phone and you give them a show. But nobody knows you the way I know you. I wouldn't call it, I should have known that. I don't condone this, you had your moment. Doing the most, I thought you were loyal. Guess I don't know you the way they know you." So it's clear that Reece finally understands the person he was truly dealing with. Or does he really? I mean, he feels like he was played all along, because he used to get told that your enemy is my enemy, but clearly that wasn't the case, as we saw Mash and Nasty C work together not so long ago after the splits with Reece. I mean, Reece thought that Mash was loyal, but that clearly wasn't the case, and he sees him as a fake individual. Now, he still went on to say, "I ain't trying to hang with niggas, I swear up to this day I still don't get it. Calling it a friendship when you treated it like a business. Stop acting like it's love, you know it isn't. Shit ain't going back to what it was, so just admit it. I know I might be mixing these emotions with the Blanco, but fuck friends. I'm better off alone as far as I know. Keep the same energy, I'm keeping my integrity. I know somebody out there feeling me, but I swear to God." So clearly Reece is done trying to mend things, since he thought he had a genuine relationship with Mash, but sees it as him viewing it as a business. So things between them will never be the same according to Reece, and he's done trying to be friends, so he would rather be alone. And the thing is, he wants Mash to keep the same energy like he's had on his socials, as well as linking up with Reece's enemy. Now, two things, right? Just going based off this, it seems like Reece will never reconcile with Nasty, as he views him as an enemy. And the second thing is that Better Now and Better Now Interlude were two very emotional records. Like, you could hear the pain through Reece's words, and you can tell that this fallout weighed heavy on him. Now with Want It All, we can hear Reece rap on a soulful R&B instrumental, pretty much speaking on how us as humans crave the need of wanting more. I mean, for the past 3 years, the slimes have been bombarding him for this album. He spoke on how his girl had been asking him to go on a retreat, how niggas want it all, but they're still stuck in the streets, as well as him wanting it all, but people around him saw it as a character flaw. Now, he also spoke on being painted as a bad guy, as he took one for the team, but he managed to dust himself off and pick himself right back up. Now, on the outro, we can hear Reece speak to his audience directly with no beat, I guess to get the message across more thoroughly. He gives honor to the late and greats, aka, whilst also mentioning that no one's got it like him. He gives thanks to his fans and the slimes for always supporting him and growing with him throughout his journey. Also mentioning that he appreciates them for lifting him up when he was down and always believing in him. He also spoke on how he started his rap journey when he was only 16, and this is all he knows, but now he's left with the question of what's next. And the thing is, Reece has been one of the most consistent rappers, if not the most consistent rapper in the game. So to answer that question of what's next is tough, because I know after some time, he'll definitely be silencing a lot of the noise with just this album. So if it's a case of him taking a little break, I wouldn't be mad at that, because as I said, he's been the most consistent rapper in the game. But with that said, the album is really good overall. I mean, the production on each record was out of this world. So we do need to shed light on Michael Tue, Iceman Beats, Not Benjamin, Soul Kids, Sunday Beats, Corgan, Verdicts, Zeke, and Sabin. So a big shout out to them. Now, Reece showed growth, vulnerability, maturity, and emotion with this album. I think it's fair to say that he's more than just a typical rapper, due to the fact that he displayed a lot of versatility as well. I mean, to showcase lyricism, melodies, and thought-provoking subject matter is something that a few rappers are able to achieve, and I can't help but appreciate that from him. I mean, with each record, I was left stunned and wanting to hear more each time. So this is definitely an album that I'll be listening to consistently for the foreseeable future. But with that said, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. What did you make of P2, the big-hearted bad guy, and which tracks are your favorites so far? Comment down below. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to hit that like button if you found the content dope, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. it's on to the next one. Peace.